What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And today's video, we are going to go over what I'm running on my Stamina Nightblade for the Deadlands patch. Now, there are going to be a lot of options. I'm going to go through all the details about what I tried out, why I chose what I chose, going to go through that explanation. But some of you guys don't want to hear that, and I get it. Some of us have the attention span of a goldfish, and you're about ready to click off the video right now. And so the only reason you're staying here now is that awkward feeling where you don't want to admit that I'm right and I'm going to win this argument. So you stay on for a couple more minutes. So we are going to do the build as quickly as possible so you can see the sets and the gear. And then we're going to go through the long-winded thing of why I chose what I chose, why I, what I tried and all that other fun stuff, and what else you could run if you don't want to run what I'm running. So with that being said, let's dive into it. Slottables. Consumable food, I'm running Lava Foot, Soup, and Saltreese. Max stamina, stamina recovery. You can run the max health, stamina recovery, just adjust some stuff. You can adjust your health around to get where you want it. On this build, I'm around 30k. Damage is pretty high this patch, so having a little bit higher of a health bar makes a lot of sense in my opinion. So yeah, this gives us a lot of stamina recovery, allows us to stack more damage. As far as potions, Essence of Detection, Tri-Pots, and Move Pots, Armor Pots. Pretty standard stuff. Back bar, Daedric Trickery, Defending Bow. Very, very strong set. Yeah, you can wear it on the back bar. Gives you 5 major buffs. Expedition, which is speed. Protection, 10% damage mitigation. Mending, which is healing. Heroism, which is ulti-gen. And Vitality, which is healing received. You can have up to 3 of these up at the same time. And roughly one of the guys in my Discord with his combat metrics said that you have about 60% uptime on all of the major buffs. So I know it's RNG, but you typically, if it's proccing off cooldown, you have 2 to 3 up all the time. And so, yeah, it's similar RNG to like Bloodspawn, Magma Incarnate, those sorts of things. So don't let the quote unquote RNG trick you into, into choosing another set. Front bar, running Plaguebreak. Plaguebreak is 2, 3, and 4 pieces fantastic. Offensive penetration, weapon and spell damage. Dealing direct damage to an enemy who is not a plague carrier turns them into a plague carrier for 10 seconds, dealing 7240. This goes up to about 10k. 10k over 10 seconds. Not bad. Not a bad dot. If the purge is removed early, it explodes, infecting enemies within 8 meters of the carrier and dealing 3,007 disease damage. The explosion can deal an additional 50% damage per enemy hit. So, long story short, this is really good 2, 3, and 4 piece for damage. That also procs a dot that if you kill somebody early, it explodes and it does like a ton of damage. I've seen this hit groups for as high as 35k. That's the highest I've seen. I'm sure other people have seen 40ks, whatever. But yeah, when you're fighting severely outnumbered, this is one of those equalizer sets. In my opinion, it shouldn't be in the game. It is. If it's in the game, you should probably, and it's this strong, you should probably run it. There are a lot of other options. Obviously, there's better single target things for more upfront burst, but if you're trying to get a chance to really win some fights that you potentially wouldn't otherwise, Plaguebreak is a great option for that. Balorg, 2-piece, really good set. I mean, this is one of the most stat-dense sets in the game. It gives you so much burst, and 2-piece, when you use an ultimate ability, you gain weapon and spell damage equal to the amount of total ultimate consumed, and physical and spell penetration equal to 23 times the amount for 12 seconds. So, long story short, if you have an ultimate that costs 100 ult, and you get to 100 ult and you use it right away, you get 100 spell damage, and you get 2,300 pen. 100 spell damage, 2,300 pen. If you use the same ult that costs 500, if you use the same ult that costs 100 ult, but you save up to 500 ult, you get 500 weapon damage and over 10,000 pen. So what this does is it allows you to just stave your ultimate for tankier individuals. It's that extra little something that you sometimes need. Like you see that tanky healer and you're like, all right, I'm going to save my ult. I'm going to save my burst so that I can hit a little bit harder. There's no other set that will give you something like this. And it works really, really well on a Nightblade. I'm running 5 Impen and 2 Reinforced as far as the sets go. They did nerf Impen a couple patches ago, but here's the down and dirty of it, guys. I am a YouTube content creator for the Elder Scrolls Online. When people see my name on Xbox, I get what is called YouTube aggro. It is a debuff in the game that causes all gankers in the area to choose to hit me first. And so I get the brunt of Nightblade ganks in my group all the time, which is more than fine. I'm cool with it. I want the fights, but you have to build a little bit differently. And so if you're not getting YouTube aggro, if you're not drawing that from the Nightblades in your area, you can maybe go sturdy, well fitted, something else. But for me, here's the thing. Single target abilities, I can dodge, I can block. AoE abilities, I have shadow image, I can get out of it. I cannot counter. If I don't know a ganker is there, which more often than not I don't have the time to prepare for that incoming damage. So what you need versus them is just flat mitigation. The best way to mitigate them is by running impen. So yeah, you can run other stuff, but that's why I'm running impen. But yeah, 2 reinforce on the big pieces, impen on the smaller pieces. If you're running no CP like Battlegrounds and stuff, and most people are in Malakath, I wouldn't run impen at all. I'd probably run sturdy or well fitted depending on your build. So, but yeah, in CP, impen is still pretty valuable. All infused weapon damage, and I'm running Death Dealer's Feet. Basically mythic trainee, 3-piece trainee instead. It's really good. 2,700 of each stat. Really powerful. You can compare it to Markin. I like this more. It's going to give you similar damage, just more health compared to resistances, but on top of that, you get the magic utility. If you want to run Markin, that's fine. Markin has 100% uptime. With how combat works and how you're in combat all the time, I think this is pretty close to 100% uptime as well. So, in fights at least, you run by a wolf, you start gaining stacks, and so sometimes you just don't get out of combat. Sometimes you just don't lose the stacks, and so yeah, that's what I found. As far as the skills, we'll fly through these real quick. Leeching, Shadow Image, Shadowy Disguise, Reaper's Mark, Vigor, Temporal Guard, In-Cap, Surprise Attack, Relentless Focus, Rally, Camo Hunter, Executioner. So as far as our CP goes, we got Master Gather. Hold on. What do we got here? We got Rationer, Warmount, Gifted Rider, Steed's Blessing. Here, Master at Arms, Deadly Aim, Duelist Rebuff, and Unassailable. So the 2 damage mitts, the AoE and single target, and then the 2 single target damage things. And then here, there's quite a few you can choose from. I got Survival Instincts, Pain's Refuge, Juggernaut, and Rejuvenation. There's a few other ones you could choose. But yeah, that's what I got. So that's the build. I went through that pretty quickly, about 5 minutes. Here's why I chose what I chose. So I did a bunch of tests as far as back bar sets. You could choose Clever Alchemist. You can choose Powerful Assault. You can even choose a set like Wretched Vitality. And the thing is you can adjust some things to have these cater to whatever you want. I don't think Wretched Vitality is a bad set, especially on this type of build. Tried it quite a bit, had some success. But to me, it came down between Daedric Trickery and Clever Alchemist. Both very good sets. Both very good back bar sets. My 2 favorite in the game. Who would have guessed that would have come down to this? And so I started doing some comparisons, Clever Alchemist, Daedric Trickery, and here's what it came down to. There's a lot of damage this patch. There's a lot of gank damage. I don't need a ton of damage right now. There seems to be this going belief that impen isn't that important, and for a Nightblade with 30%-ish crit chance with a guaranteed critical strike, and when people are running around with 1,000 impen, you hit really fucking hard. Like, you just don't need much damage, and so much quote-unquote damage because it has so much built in because of what people are wearing and just basically what the kit is. And so in my opinion, you need a little bit more survivability. I know people are going to go, oh, Shadowy Disguise is great. It's great defensive skill. Half the groups you're running across, they're running like Revealing Flare in the back bar because of the major protection. And so because it's automatically on their bar, they are going to hit you with that Revealing Flare, and all of a sudden your defensive capabilities go to shit. And you're sitting there and you're like, oh man, how am I so squishy in 3 offensive sets? And so I went back and forth and I was comparing it, and you can make it work. But I just found that what Daedric Trickery does is it gives you heroism quite a bit, which is a very nice synergy with Balorg. And so I was comparing the numbers with the reduced healing this patch. They reduced the amount of healing compared to last patch. On top of it, a lot more people are running a set like Kin Marcher, where you have a few more defiles. So you have Stamina Blast Bones with defiles. You now have a lot of groups running Kin Marcher with lowered healing. I just felt like the healing and survival of Daedric Trickery was just going to be better than the 20 seconds of extra damage, because I'm already hitting hard. I'm already hitting hard. I just felt like it was a little bit better overall. And so you can go Clever Alchemist. It's more than fine. It's a great set. But yeah, that's why I chose that. The only reason I don't run Daedric Trickery that often on Stamina Nightblade is I normally don't run a dot. And so it's all burst for a class. And so I haven't ran poison injection in a few years now. It's just like you can light attack and proc Daedra Trickery every 8 seconds on your back bar, but if they dodge the bow attack, it's just not nearly as good. But the synergy with Plaguebreak on the front bar is that this procs a dot. And so every time I hit a direct damage attack, it procs this dot. I go to my back bar, I get the Trickery proc. And so if I'm fighting multiple people and I'm trying to get bursts and everything, every 8 seconds with these dots ticking, I am going to get a Trickery proc. And that gives me really, really nice uptime on all my major buffs. And so that just makes Trickery a much, much better set. Now, as far as front bar sets, there are a few different options you can go. In my opinion, the best front bar set for solo 1vx is Calurians. Calurians is the best. I do not have the Calurians Maul, so it's not really an option for me. I got to go farm it. But it is very, very good. I did try Kin Marcher on here. Kin Marcher worked pretty well. I think you need more debuffs on a class. I think you need more dots, more debuffs. I think this is better on like a DK, Templar, those sorts of things. But I knew I was going to use it. I just won't use it on this one. But Titanborn, if you don't want to be... All right, so here's the difference between Calurians and Plaguebreak. Calurians is just that big daddy burst damage. Like you're going to 100 to 0 just about everybody in PvP wearing Calurians, and it's fantastic. You will kill one person. Plaguebreak is that set that you run if you're trying to fight 10 people and you catch them all in a tower and you get that kill and you get that nuke damage. You have a chance to win fights you're just not going to win with other sets. And so that's why I have Plaguebreak on. Once I get them all and I play, when I'm playing solo, I'll put Calurians on. But the 2, 3, and 4 piece for Plaguebreak's fantastic. And you're going to ask like, yo, else, if I don't want to be a cheesy piece of shit, what stat set would you run? I mean, I would consider Stygian or I'd run Titanborn. I think Titanborn is fantastic. If you look at a 2, 3, 4, and 5 piece, it's very comparable to 5-piece Spriggans at 100% health. Everybody confuses 5-piece Titanborn. They look at it and they're like, oh, I need to be at 75 or 50% health for damage. No, like look at these stats. Add up the 2, 3, 4, and 5 piece where the 5 piece says 110 and 1240 pen. 110 weapon damage, 1240 pen. Add up all that, you're going to have 1% less damage than Spriggans at 100% health. But the difference is you get more damage at 75% health, and sometimes you can build into that, like when you're 1v1ing. If you know you need that little extra, you can kind of bait people below 75% health and then just nuke a health bar with the Titanborn proc at lower. It also gives you 440 weapon damage at lower health. And now why is that so important? Well, when are you popping Rally? Are you popping Rally at 100% health? No, you're probably popping it at like 75 or 50%. So all of a sudden you get 440 weapon damage when you proc Rally. And so you get boosted healing while running Titanborn over, like this will be more weapon damage than a set like New Moon Acolyte. It's more weapon damage than a set like Spriggans. And so you get the damage of Spriggans with that extra capability like Balorg with extra healing when you need it. And so it's a great set. Now, I'm not saying you have to farm this. If you want to run New Moon Acolyte front bar, I get it. It's crafted. It's really easy to get your hands on. So totally understand. Like I said, Stygian is a great set. There are some options, but Titanborn would be my number one go-to for a front bar set. If you don't want to run a proc. And then if you do want to run a proc, Plaguebreak you can buy. Calurians you have to farm. And yeah, the farm for the Calurians Maul is going to be a little rough. And I didn't want to do it yet. So yeah, that's why I'm running what I'm running. Fully buffed while in combat. We'll look at our stats real quick while we're waiting for this to build up. But I'm going to be around 30,000 stamina. Or 30,000 health. And it's like 33k stamina with all the stats. So it's very, very stat dense running Death Dealer's Feet, which is really nice. It's really nice having just knowing you have this much health. Because you're just not, especially with Trickery, with stage 3 Vampire. I didn't go into my character sheet. So let me buff with Rally. Light attack on the back bar. So yeah, you see I have 58, 54 weapon damage with continuous, probably like 63 to 6,500 weapon damage. Still good weapon damage. You look at the pen, I have 11,700 pen, but I also have minor fracture on the front bar because I'm a Nightblade. So that jumps me up to 13, 14. With major fracture with mark on the back bar, that jumps me up to about 19. K pen. On top of that, I have another up to 10K pen with Balorg, so we can have up to 29,000 pen. So up to 29,000 pen, over 6K weapon damage with this build. Very, very good flat stats, but on top of that, we also have a cheesy proc because we're a cheesy piece of shit. With Daedric Trickery, with Stage 3 Undeath. So very, very well-rounded build, in my opinion. It's pretty nice. Fully buffed stats. Back bar, we have 2,500 stamina recovery. Like I said, it's like 33K stamina, 28K health. Yeah, overall very good build. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. And yeah, when I get Calurians, I will put that on also. I mean, as you guys can see, most stamina Nightblades are running Calurians, and that's for good reason, because it's really good. So yeah, that's the end of this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. I will do my best to answer it. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.